listening to Kingston Community Radio on WGHQ Kingston. On your radio at 920 AM and 92.5 FM, and also online at mykcr.org.
Hi, I'm Kelsey Grammer. Wounded Warrior Project supports injured veterans by connecting them with fellow warriors, by serving them through mental health and wellness programs, and by empowering them to live on their own terms. No one should face a battle alone. Join us at woundedwarriorproject.org.
To battle is to fight, to struggle, to overcome, and ultimately for the Marine Corps, it means to win. There is no alternative. It's not just a statement of intent. It's a promise to our nation. A promise kept for more than 2 centuries. A promise of the Marines.
Long ago, you wouldn't think of galloping on a horse while doing calligraphy, and you wouldn't have attempted to ride your bike while typing a letter. Yet you think you can safely operate a multi-ton vehicle while texting? Behind the wheel is no place to multitask. If you want to BRB, drive now and text later. Lives depend on it.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, Noise, and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Jared Mans from the Spring Lake Fire Department, and I support Kingston Community Radio, and so should you.
This portion of Kingston Community Radio is brought to you by Ulster Savings Bank. Visit their newest branch, conveniently located at the Ulster Commons Plaza in Lake Katrine. Experience the difference that local community banking offers with the convenience of another great location, easy access, plenty of parking, and a 24-hour ATM. Ulster Savings Bank, invested in community, invested in you. Member FDIC.
Okay, it's Friday. Thank God it's Friday.
Had a rough week, Lawrence?
No, I like Fridays.
Who doesn't?
I get off at noon on Fridays, and then I have until Monday. And Monday's Columbus Day, even though I will work, but the banks and post offices and everything is closed. So.
Right. So did you have a good week?
Yeah, everything was good. I'm busy. I had a couple doctors. I had a doctor's appointment, dentist appointment. I had Happy Christmas Fund meeting at Sawyer Savings on Wednesday. But everything was great. Everything's good. Happy Christmas Fund is looking good. Anyway, so how's Rick Remsnyder this morning?
Great. My son and I got back. I kind of lose track of the days, but Monday we saw Rolling Stones in Pittsburgh.
Oh, that's right. You told me you were going to that.
Unbelievable.
How was the weather? Good?
Oh, my God. I can't.
And how are they still sounding after 50 years or so?
Actually, obviously, the drummer, Charlie Watts, passed away. So
right, we know that.
But they got a new guy, Steve Jordan. He's fine.
Keith Richards wasn't playing in a wheelchair or a regular chair. He's still rocking away. It's amazing.
Keith he's still hanging in there, still playing great. Ronnie Woods, he had a cancer scare, but he's doing all right.
And how long was did they do a 2-hour show?
2 hours and 15 minutes.
Wow.
They don't mess around.
Yeah, I mean, I remember what you told me the ticket price was, and I know they've been around forever, but that's like more than going to I don't think it costs all that to bring all 4 of my friends to Giant games, or 3 of them.
Yeah, well,
I'm sure the Rolling Stones are not the.
It's a little bigger payoff than watching Daniel Jones fumble the ball.
Not last week, it wasn't.
Oh, he was good last week.
Yeah, he was good last week, and he doesn't have an offensive line, so maybe he's a lot better than I thought. But now it's just one game at a time.
50,000 in Pittsburgh.
Wow.
We had what they call the pit, so you're like, if you get there early enough, you can get the front row right next to the stage.
Oh, so you were general admission.
Oh, it was awesome. Just can't tell you how good it was.
Picture you pushing to the front of the stage with a lighter and a Stones headband on. Like, I'm just playing.
Well, I got to be honest with you. It is a bit of a problem with the knuckleheads. Let me put it to you that way.
I mean, yeah. I mean, but you're probably a true Rolling Stone fan. I mean,
you just move.
You've probably been listening to them as a teenager or as a in your early 20s or whatever.
Yep.
So not to say that you're a certain amount of age. I'm just saying.
I am. I'm old. What can I tell you?
I'm just saying. Well, you don't look it, but anyway.
Well, thanks.
So you see people there that are probably, younger than your son even.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
No, a lot of teenagers there. It's unbelievable how the Stones have spanned the generations.
It is. Now it's understandable for your son to like the Rolling Stones because he probably grew up in the house with you listening to them.
Yeah.
I have one of my dad's friends is a huge Beatle fan. We're not going to go through the names or whatever.
Yeah.
His son is also a Beatle fan, and it just drives. I'm like, personally, I never thought the Beatles were all that great.
Yeah.
I guess I like some of their songs or whatever, but this guy listens to the Beatles still, and he's in his about to be 30. Okay,
Right.
so he was the Beatles. He was born he's younger than me. He's probably 15 years younger than me or something. I think maybe he's a little older than 30, but. The point of the story is that he loves the Beatles. That's all he listens to. Wow. So with your son being a Rolling Stones fan, that makes, you grow up. Now, I grew up listening to Joan Baez in the house. So, no, I'm not a Joan Baez fan. But we also had the radio on a lot.
Right.
Because, my father always wanted to hear if we were off the air because then he had to go do something. So there was the radio station was on a lot of the time in our home. But, anyway.
Well, growing up, I did like the Beatles, but the problem is that they only toured briefly, and so
that's true. The Stones were definitely they toured all the time.
Yeah,
in America and in Europe.
Oh yeah. So they've been going, I think, 60 years now, close to 60 years.
Wow.
So it was a great show.
So we got that's good. Now, did you guys stay overnight? I doubt you drove back right after.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You did?
Yeah, stayed overnight and came back the next day.
And that's PNC Park right in downtown?
No, that's it was at Heinz Field, the football stadium.
Oh, it was at the football stadium. Oh,
Yep.
okay.
Yep.
Aren't they next to each other?
Yep, right next to one another. It's a great
I remember
complex.
when I watched it on ESPN when they took Three Rivers down, the stadium that was
Yep.
there. But do you remember watching that on ESPN with all the dynamite? They showed it. It was like, on 5 o'clock Sports Center. Like,
Yep.
Three Rivers Stadium comes down today. We're going to take you live to it. And they showed the construction guys out in the parking lot hitting the buttons.
Right.
And the whole thing just dropped.
Yep.
Just like they did. Now, they didn't do that with Giant Stadium. I was waiting for them to do that. They did it with they hired these huge, there was like 5 or 6, only 3 of them were working at a time. These cranes, the company was from Germany. Me and my father used to watch it. Like we would watch little segments of it. They had these big claws.
Right.
And they was picking parts of the stadium apart and dropping them down onto the ground, breaking them up more, and then bulldozers would come in and put it into the back of a thing. And they didn't use explosions. So I thought that was kind of weird.
Yeah.
Probably cost a lot more, but probably a lot safer for the air quality, right?
I would imagine. Yeah.
I mean, do you remember seeing that cloud of smoke that came up over Three Rivers?
Oh,
when they
yeah.
did it? It was like, and that's kind of in downtown Pittsburgh, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Right down. Well, you walk.
It's right on the river, right?
Walk right across the bridge to downtown Pittsburgh if you want. I've stayed on the other side where the hotels are. They're a little expensive, so we stayed about 15 minutes outside of Pittsburgh. Drove in. So they gouge you with the parking, $45. But what are you gonna do?
Hey, it's all part of the experience, right?
But it was a great. Great
now,
show.
were you able to buy beer and hot dogs and food and everything while the concert was going on?
Oh,
Just
yeah.
like a regular sporting event.
Yep, same concessions as for the Steelers.
And you were on the field, though.
Yes.
Wow. So you got to go into the tunnel through the stadium and look at like cool stuff.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, just
I
like
got to go into the old Giant Stadium tunnel once, halfway through. And I was like, man, I could walk around in here for days. It was just so, being a Giant fan, it was so cool. So I could only imagine, going into the bigger stadiums and.
Yeah, it's a nice stadium, and you're talking about Three Rivers. I remember when Mark McGuire was doing his tour. We went there and watched him with a 3-game series with the Cardinals, and he hit a couple home runs.
Oh, did he? That's nice.
Yep. So,
I was living in Florida when McGuire and Sosa were going at it, and I wasn't born when Mantle and Maris were going at it. So
yep. Well,
so who you got on tap today?
Got a really good show. We have Robert Selkowitz, who we had him on about a month ago for the 5th annual car rally. Has the 1903 automobile endurance run up in Shandaken, and it goes into Delaware County. So he's going to talk about the wrap up of the race.
Cool.
Then at 8 o'clock. I'm really happy we have Jeff Kaplan, who's the mayor of Ellenville, talking about all the different things that are going on in that area. And then one of my good friends, haven't seen him since the pandemic, is Jeremy Ellenbogen.
Oh, yeah.
721 Media Center, and him and his wife.
Henry was his dad, right? Henry is
Yeah,
Henry still alive?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Yep. Henry's
Henry
awesome.
lives right on Salem Street. When you come over the Eddyville Bridge, you make the left. He's got that house right there that's on that little, like, mini kind of lake pond.
Yeah, I know where that is. Yeah.
It's pretty big.
Yeah.
Yeah, my dad, I remember going over there once or twice as a kid. My dad was good friends with Henry. So
Yeah,
that's good.
Henry's
That's good.
and his wife.
Rick,
awesome.
did you buy the Post this morning?
Absolutely.
You see this nitwit that tried to kill himself? Jumped?
Yeah.
Okay, the funniest thing is that he jumped off. He tried to kill himself. He jumped with a mask on. So you see the mask wrapped
I
around
see
his
the
face?
mask,
All right,
yeah.
so I went in and read the story a little bit. He jumped 9 stories, landed on a BMW
Yep.
down in the street, and I guess the hood, it looks like the hood, they have a picture of him. He's stuck in the hood. I mean, it's terrible. I guess God didn't want him yesterday.
Wow.
So he jumped 9 stories, got stuck in the hood, lived. The car is destroyed. He
Unreal.
looks like he doesn't look like he's in good shape.
The funny thing is he wore a mask.
But the mask is on his face, like, dude,
well,
really? Oh my
well, he
Lord.
has it under his chin.
Right, but you know, after jumping 9 stories, that's a lot of wind.
Yeah.
I don't know what was
I
going
wonder what the- I
And
wonder-
he's young. I think he's not even 40.
Yeah. I didn't read
When I
this-
read his age, I was like, all right, man, come on, dude. You can't be like, wait, hold up. Where is it? What is it, page 7?
Yeah, 7, yeah.
He is 31. That is not good. So I thought it was in Manhattan. A 31-year-old man who deliberately jumped from a 9-story window in Jersey City had his fall broken by a parked BMW. The car and the man were both significantly banged up by the impact. But after the 100-foot plunge and some comforting from bystanders, the man was taken to a hospital, officials said.
Can't make this stuff up.
I mean, if he says he was committing suicide, he's going to go to jail. The Jersey laws are different than New York. I think you can still go to jail there.
Yeah.
Where in New York, you got to, let's not go there.
Imagine be the owner of that BMW and walking out.
I hope he has full coverage.
Well,
Because that thing is totaled. I mean, look at, even the seats came ajar. I mean, he's stuck. I'm thinking, was the sunroof open? It was a parked BMW, so there's no way. Or maybe he could just make it a convertible now. No, that thing is ruined. Look at, oh God, that had to hurt. Anyway.
So have you been following this whole thing with Kyrie Irving and the Nets?
I have been. I don't. There's a few people in the NBA that won't get vaccines, and there's a few people on the Giants that won't either. Fortunately, the Knicks and all their staff, the New York Knicks and all their staff, every single one of them is vaccinated. I don't know what Kyrie, and he doesn't want to be asked about it either, right? He gets offended if you ask him if he had a shot.
Well, he hasn't had the shot.
All right, well, he's making how much? What is he making? $19 million a year?
I'd have to look at it.
He's an idiot.
But
he's going to jeopardize $19 million a year for a vaccine that's going to keep him alive. Whatever.
Well, as you know.
How many people do you know, Rick, that don't have a shot? Do you know a few people?
Oh, yeah, I know some people.
Do they give you a different excuse every time about why they won't get one? I know 3.
Yeah.
And I've heard every excuse under the sun, from I'm going to grow a pair of, or, I'm going to change my DNA, to I'm going to have a brain tumor and die within a year, to every different excuse under the sun why they won't get them.
Right.
And some of them have families and won't let their families get them either, so.
Well, it's, it is a personal choice, but.
I understand that. I'm not trying to force anyone to get it.
Yep.
If you don't want to get it, you don't want to get it, but I'm not coming to visit you in the hospital when you do get it.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Kyrie Irving is,
He's being kind of a
Nets fan, and.
Don't you think he's being a little kind of, ridiculous about the whole thing?
Yeah.
No, even his teammates that are making, he makes him the big 3. So Harden, Durant,
right,
and Kyrie. They make a lot of. They probably take up half of the team's salary, just the 3 of them. They have to. I know Durant is making big money.
Yeah, they're in a $40 million a year range. Here's my
each.
Here's my take on this. They'll never do it, but I think they should just trade him. And the thing of it is I think they have enough talent that they
don't need him.
With Durant and Harden and all the other guys they got.
I don't think anybody wants.
They're going to win the title. Yeah, that's the problem. Nobody will take
just like when Jalen Smith got cut the other day by the Cowboys, no one wanted to pick him up, even though he's a great player. He's not as fast as some of the younger guys, and he's got his off-field issues. That's what will keep a franchise away from taking, players at all. I mean, the Giants. I mean, sometimes I think the Giants should have put up with a little more like Odell Beckham. They shouldn't have got rid of him. Obviously, he was a great player for the Giants. He went off to it, and he's been hurt a lot since he's left. But I thought that was a stupid move, even though he was making a lot of money. But people don't want to. I didn't know he makes like $40 million a year. Kyrie.
Well, I know Durant does. I'd have to look it up.
Yeah,
Kyrie,
I'm sure Harden
makes
and
a lot
Kyrie
of money.
make just pretty close to it.
They do.
Yeah.
So what it'll come down to, it's all about the money. He'll get
get a shot, right? Yeah. He's just going to kick and scream.
Yeah.
Doesn't the season open though soon? Because they don't do many preseason games, right?
There's only 4 preseason games.
Right, and then they're practicing. Most of the time in basketball, they practice. So the season should be opening like.
It is.
Okay, for the Knicks, it's October 19th.
Yep.
Okay, so it looks like the season might start either Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah, it's.
So what is he going to miss? They said it was $404,000 a game he's going to miss.
Yeah, it's around $400,000. Yeah, $400,000 a game. So.
All because he won't get a shot.
But
that'll keep him alive, by the way. Yeah. Anyway,
I can't even.
So how's the weather looking for this weekend? My phone is in the other room.
Oh no, it's looking good.
Oh no.
Yeah. Yep.
No, I know that it said it was supposed to rain for the Italian Fest, but that was 50%, and the weather changes like every 30 seconds.
I see Tony had Les Lombardi on the other day.
Yeah, and Brett yesterday.
Yeah.
They were both good.
Well, it's supposed to be, is it Sunday, the Italian Fest?
Sunday, yeah, it's knocked down to 37%, which is good.
Yeah, it's supposed to be 63 degrees. It's not bad. It's
going to be 75 today. That's nice.
Yeah.
I'm saying that's nice now. 6 weeks ago, it was still in the 90s, and I was like, ugh.
Yeah. It's but these weather forecasts. We were looking at the weather forecast for Pittsburgh for like a week, and it said like it started for Monday when the show was 70%, and then down to 40. It was perfect.
Right. By the time you got there,
it was no rain.
Not a drop of rain.
Went out and spent $9 at Dick's Sports for a poncho.
Just
throw it in the back seat of the car.
Right. At those prices, you pay that much money. That's why sometimes I rough it out and sit through the Giant game, because it's like I didn't drive all the way down here and pay all this money just to leave over a little speck of rain.
Right.
I was like, I can throw my clothes in the dryer when I get home. Or what my father used to do is have a suit. I'm not putting on the whole blue suit, man. That's a little too much. Yeah, you look like you work there or something. But like you said, the little $10 poncho that you buy, they work good.
Well, when the last tour in 2019, we went to 4 shows, and one of them was Philly. And it rained pretty hard for about 45 minutes in Philly, and I was glad to have a poncho. But you know what it was? It's kind of, for the Stones, it just seemed like it was, made the experience even more.
Was it a summer concert where it was already hot out to begin with?
Yeah, it was like 80 degrees. But
right, because that isn't so bad. I mean, 45 minutes of rain is 45 minutes of rain, but it was probably a little hot and steamy when it stopped raining, and also a mess on the field, right?
Yeah, but, hey, the Stones played even harder, it seemed like. Because
they don't stop during the rain? They're not worried about getting electrocuted or anything?
No.
Oh, they're covered up.
They're covered.
Yeah, they're covered. That's right.
Yeah, they don't need to.
Yeah, they don't need to stop. So they just keep on rocking out.
The only thing that would stop a show is lightning. So that's
right. That's different. Yeah, they'll stop a sporting event for lightning. I've been in a Giant game before where even my father was scared. He's like, I think we should. This is at the old stadium. I think we should go inside. Here, you want some hot chocolate, son? Like it was like it cracked right over the stadium. It looked like it was going to hit the board, and he just grabbed my arm and we went up in there. And then we were watching because they had TVs those days. The TVs, there was one big one in the middle of one of the gate. Now they're everywhere, so you're never crowded around a TV. But before, people used to, if you were the first one in there, you would get congregated around while you were watching TV. And that was they were like, the game is going to be postponed for a little while until the storm passes. And 20 minutes later, we went back out there, but it was loud.
Yeah.
It was a little scary. I mean, I was, 13 or 14 at the time, or, they were terrible then. Actually, no, they were just starting to get good. Or maybe, they were. It was before the strike year, so maybe I was like 12. It was like 84. LT was there already, And Parcells had just became the coach. It was like his first year. And remember, they had that strike year in 85, and then they won in 86. So it was sometime in there. And it was loud, though. It was scary.
So have you, I haven't myself, have you been out to the new Barnes & Noble yet?
I haven't. That's in where?
Used to be the Olive Garden.
Oh, they went into there.
Yes.
Wow, that's a lot smaller than where they
25% the size, or 27% the size.
At least they're still in Kingston. That's good.
Yeah.
So wait, Burlington Coat Factory is going into where Barnes & Noble used to be?
It's already open. Yeah, it's in Barnes & Noble.
And what's out in Burlington Coat Factory? Empty?
Empty right now. So at least they kept them.
Maybe they wanted, you know what it was? Maybe Burlington Coat Factory wanted more foot traffic. Because besides, what is that, Office Depot next to it, you got a dollar store on the one side, and then one of my favorite restaurants in Kingston, the Kingston Wok. You ever go to the Wok? Oh, I love it there. And then that's it. That's the Caldor Plaza. It's not very, there's not a lot of foot traffic is what I'm saying. Over where Barnes & Noble was, that's a little, there's two restaurants in there. There's Panera.
Applebee's and
Panera and is
Moe's.
Borders still there?
Who?
Is Borders still in there? Was there a Borders in there?
I don't think so.
It's just Barnes and Noble, and there's a bunch of little stores.
Yeah, there used to be a Moe's there.
Oh, that's right.
That
There
closed.
was a Moe's.
That closed.
No more Sports Authority? We don't have that either?
No, there's. I know there's a dental office in there, and
Not my dentist.
a few other things. So, pet store, pet.
Oh, that's right. There's a pet store in there.
I'm not sure if it's Petco, but something like that.
No, is Petco still up by Sam's? I don't know. I didn't look last time.
There's a dog.
I know Ollie's is still there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So at least they're. So I'm looking forward to going in there. Maybe I'll go in there next week. I wanted to let the traffic, subside.
The other Barnes & Nobles used to have a Starbucks in it, right?
Yeah, I don't know about this one. I'd have to go in there and see what it looks like. So.
I was in Target yesterday. They have a Starbucks in there
Yep.
with three bar stools at the counter. There's no one, and then there's a little tables on the outside. There's no one ever at it. They look like they're bored as hell. I've seen one person in the 3 or 4 years I've been going there. I don't go there that much, maybe once a month.
I don't know which one is busier, whether it's Dunkin' Donuts or Starbucks. But invariably, when you're driving out in Ulster, that the lines going into both of these places are unbelievable.
Yeah, I've noticed that I've waited. Dunkin' Donuts line seems to move a little faster, especially the one on Albany Avenue. But Starbucks, sometimes people are ordering so much, they only have 1 or 2 people doing it, where Dunkin' Donuts, they usually have a full... a full scale of things. I don't know. I like Starbucks, like the Frappuccino. I like that better than the iced coffee at Dunkin' Donuts, but I like espresso now.
I'm a Quick Check man.
I like Quick Check. Oh, do they have pumpkin? Do they have the pumpkin thing yet? Because it is October. Those are my 2 favorite months for Quick Check coffee are October.
The pumpkin spice or whatever
the pumpkin spice, cinnamon pumpkin spice. Oh my God, I could drink a 32 ounce of that.
I'm not big on flavored coffee, so I haven't.
You got to try that, man. And then they do one at Christmas. I think it's called it's something. There's a Christmas tree one that tastes a little, but there's one that tastes like, I want to say like cake. It's like Christmas. Oh my God, it's delicious. It's a little sweet. Like you don't need to put too much sugar in it.
Right.
I like Quick Check coffee.
No,
they got. I mean, listen. Look, all the condiments they got out there. They have every single thing. You could light cream, half and half, freaking Irish cream. They have everything. Dude.
Yeah,
Splenda, Equal. It's their brands or whatever. I go to Quick Check every once in a while. Their subs aren't too bad either. Their bread is good.
Yeah. No, I thought I couldn't understand that when they had them side by side. I wondered if that would work, but actually, by the Thruway Circle have enough traffic to support both of them.
Yeah, they do. They do. And now it looks like they're putting a car wash to the right of that.
Yeah, that's I saw that. Do we need another car wash?
I don't know. I go to Hoffman. I pay for the monthly. I have the monthly, the little barcode and me and my mom's window. We pay for that, and I can go 8 times a day if I want for $38 and $38.50 a month.
Right.
They don't vacuum or anything. It's just the tires are shined. I mean, it'll last fine until it rains, and then you just go out there.
Right.
It's better. It's $22 every time, or it's $16 every time you want to wash it. You can get 2 for $30.
Yep.
So I'm figuring, man, I go more than 4 times a month. That's worth $38.50 right there. So.
Yep. No, I have the same thing.
Yeah. They tried to get me with the $55 one where they'll take your car, vacuum it, clean the inside out.
That's what I have too.
Yeah, I don't have time for all that. I just threw, because then you got to drive around again, get out of your car, go sit down inside, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I retire, Rick, that's what I'll do. I'll switch to that.
Yeah, switch. I
But that's
got
not
to
gonna
tell
be
you,
for a
you're
long,
probably
long time.
not going to switch to it because it's now 75. I think it's a little pricey. So you got to go
Oh,
at
it's
least
75 for the full thing?
Yeah,
They
yeah.
bumped you. See,
Yeah.
they only bumped me up from 34. I have the ultimate wash with the wheels and the ultimate and the wheels. It's called.
Right.
It was $34.50. Now it's $38.50.
Yeah. It's now the full service thing is 75.
Wow.
So what I normally do is get rid of it in the winter because
But that's the time you need it the most, though, to
I
get all
know.
the salt off.
Yeah. No, I keep the car wash one, but
Yeah.
we'll see. But so
No,
this
you're
week,
$75 is a lot.
yeah, it's a little pricey. Big football game this weekend tonight.
I was just reading the paper yesterday. Kingston lost to Red Hook?
Yep, 20 to
And
nothing.
you said that they weren't even in the same class, right?
I would. Yeah, it's.
Oh, my Lord. So they're not that good this year in football, Kingston.
Well, no.
What's their record?
I don't think so. I think they're 3-2, but
They should be 4-1.
Yeah, well, they lost to. I believe they also lost to Beacon. So tonight they did beat Double A Pine Bush on the road last week, which normally Pine Bush is pretty
Who do they
good.
play tonight?
Monroe Woodbury. So we'll see how good they are.
What time is that at the stadium?
7:00, Dietz Stadium. So that'll be kind of they have. We're going to see what they're made of because the next 3 weeks. I know they have Monroe Woodbury, Middletown, and Newburgh, and those 3 AA schools are very good. So. Yeah, it was a big win for Scott Ricketson, who he coaches Red Hook. He used to be the offensive coordinator, and he was a star quarterback for Kingston Tigers. So they came in. I was covering another game, but they beat them pretty good, 20-0.
Is Monroe Woodbury the one where you get off at exit 16 right by the?
Yep.
Yeah, the Woodbury Commons. Duh, that makes sense. All right.
They always have a good program, but it's kind of shifted a little bit. Middletown is really come on, and Newburgh is always good. They have a great coach. Bill Bianco's been there for a number of years. I can't remember the last time Kingston beat Newburgh. It's going back to the Tom Laughlin days.
I was going to say, because we beat them every year that I was in high school, we beat them.
As they say, the worm is turned.
But we had a really good football team then. I mean, a lot of those guys went on to go to college and play football. So
Kingston had a great
we
program.
went and played for the year I was in. A sophomore, the year I was in 10th grade, the seniors, or the football team that year, Rick Clausey was coaching them. They went to the state championship and played in the Carrier Dome that year, and they tied the game 7-7.
I was at that game.
Oh, that's right. You wrote for the Freeman then. Right?
Yeah, West Genesee. They didn't.
That's what they played. West Genesee.
They didn't have overtime at that point, so it was a 7-7 tie.
7-7. Yeah.
Yeah, that was before.
They had a really good team, man. I mean, I remember they played Newburgh at home that year because I was playing JV football that year. So the JV was on the road, the varsity was at home, and they brought us back. We left early to come back to the game so we could watch it, and they crushed them that night.
Oh yeah,
that's when I learned in 10th grade how big of this football rivalry is. I was like, I mean that's the first year that they had put in. It was the last year of grass.
Right.
At my first year at the high school in 10th grade, they didn't put they put it in as the football. Right when it got warm in the spring, they started building the turf. I think the Woodies, the people out,
Bruderhoff.
Yeah, Bruderhoff. Sorry, the Bruderhoff paid for it. And it was the first. They put those metal stands. Now they're a little nicer, but they used to have those like bleacher metal stands that they put right over there. They were packed with people. I mean, Newburgh had brought up like 3 buses full of the bus for the team, the cheerleader, the color guard, and then fans.
Yep.
I mean, there was a lot, and then all the people from Kingston that were there. The whole the whole thing was packed. There were people, standing around. It's like, holy cow, this is serious. This is like going to a college game or something.
Yeah, that Newburgh-Kingston rivalry used to be fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
we'll see what they can do this year. Yeah, Newburgh Free Academy always has. I mean, they have a really big school.
Yeah.
Probably a little bit. I mean, I know Kingston High School is big, but they're probably a lot bigger, right?
They're not that much bigger. No.
Same amount of
Yeah,
enrollment?
it's pretty much. I could look it up, but it's comparable. So.
All right, you want to go to break, and then we'll come back with your guest?
Yep, Robert Selkowitz. That'll be fun. Thanks.
You're listening to Kingston Community Radio on WGHQ Kingston. On your radio at 920 AM and 92.5 FM, and also online at mykcr.org.
Have you ever experienced a wish come true? For a child battling a critical illness, a wish come true can be a turning point. One song, one dance, one game, one adventure, one moment changes everything. Make-A-Wish needs your support to grant the wish of every eligible child. Visit wish.org now to help grant more life-changing wishes. Together, we can transform lives, one wish at a time.
Hi, I'm Steve Thomas for Habitat for Humanity Restore. Habitat Restores are nonprofit home improvement stores and donation centers that sell new and gently used furniture, building materials, and appliances to the public at a fraction of the retail cost. The Ulster County Restore at 406 Route 28 in Kingston needs your donations. Call our hotline at 845-853-7499 to schedule your free pickup. And thanks.
Everyone is talking about healthcare these days. America spends twice that of other developed countries on our healthcare system, yet our health ranks near the bottom. How can we stop spending so much and getting so little? By shifting to a system that gives more patients access to strong primary care. Primary care can help make America healthy again. To learn more about the benefits of primary care, visit www.healthisprimary.org. This message is brought to you by America's Family Physicians.
Screening exams for breast, lung, or colorectal cancers are necessary to detect and treat disease at its earliest, most curable stage. But you may have some concerns and questions. Answer your questions and ease your fears by visiting radiologyinfo.org. In addition to information on screening and wellness, you'll find more than 200 descriptions of radiologic exams, procedures, and treatments to help you prepare. Get informed and be prepared. Visit radiologyinfo.org. Produced by the Radiological Society of North America and the American College of Radiology.
Hi, this is Winnie from the Rosendale Seniors, and I support Kingston Community Radio, and so should you.
This portion of Kingston Community Radio has been brought to you by the First Savings Bank in Ulster County that still remains local to this day. Ulster Savings Bank, a community bank that's invested in local business, invested in community, invested in you. Ulster Savings Bank, your one-stop resource for everything local. Locations throughout the Hudson Valley and online at ulstersavings.com. Member FDIC.
All right, we're back, Lawrence, and I believe we have Robert Selkowitz from the 1903 Automobile Endurance Run on the phone. Good morning, Robert.
Good morning, Rick. Tell me what are the call letters and the number on the dial? I'm about to post it on Facebook. I forgot.
Help me with that, will you, Lawrence? What are the call numbers for the station?
The call letters like 92.5 FM?
Yeah, 92.5 FM, and what is it, AM?
920 AM, but it's much clearer on FM.
Yeah.
Especially this time of the year. As it gets colder, it's going to get worse. So.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go.
And we're also.
We're also on YouTube. You can look at Rick's beautiful face and go to YouTube, type in Kingston Community Radio, and click on the link.
Okay. Just a second. I'm going to write that down.
Good. So you're calling from the North Country up there? Were you in Maine or?
Yes, I had a drive of 1,007.5 miles from my house in Ashokan to my brother's house on the shore of Cape Breton Island, and it was a gorgeous drive. I had good weather and was able to put the top down on my Miata all the way across Nova Scotia. It was 67 to 70 degrees, and this morning it is cold with a north wind of 30 miles an hour and surf. So I was able to give my brother a ride in the car yesterday. He loved driving it. And today we're going to go out in his Jeep Grand Cherokee and be sheltered from the weather a bit. I've been coming up here since 1972. He bought land in 71 and built a house starting in 73. He's 81.
Wow.
His name is Anton, and I just turned 70, and my family got me the nice used Miata for my 70th birthday because of all my work with the rallies. And he was pretty sick this summer, so I wanted him to drive it. He got in the car and took off and said, "Oh my God, I love it. I forgot," meaning he forgot what it was like to have a sports car, because in '64 he bought a 1964 Triumph TR4, and it's like a memory that comes back in a rush. So we're having a good time. I'll be up here for a couple of weeks.
Fantastic. What did your brother do?
Well, he started out in advertising and left that, and dropped out, opened a head shop, and then became a carpenter. And he came up here and built his house and did a lot of carpentry, and then went out to California and San Francisco and developed a business as a contractor and developer, and left that a number of years ago, went to South Florida in Naples, and has some commercial real estate now. So he's basically retired, but still keeps his finger in a lot of things. And we've been very close all our lives. Our parents died young, and my two older brothers, 8 and 11 years older than I am, had houses together, and they basically finished bringing me up. So we're very close, and they have been very supportive of my creative endeavors over the years. And the rallies have just been something that has become established, and they thought me driving my Dodge van, I should have something more appropriate. So this was their way of showing their love for me, and it's been great.
Great. Well, pass along my regards. So we had you on the show a couple weeks before the rally, which was September 25th. Talk about the turnout and the weather, and how'd that go?
We had such a perfect day.
Great.
It was a beautiful sunny day. We had 43 cars that did the rally, ranging from the 1932 Pierce Arrow 54 Club sedan, which was gorgeous, and we had various sports cars, and people had SUVs. It's my point is to appeal to everyone, and this is devoted to the pure enjoyment of driving on our beautiful roads and recognizing the huge investment in infrastructure that our roads represent. And so, in the course of my research for the 1903 run, I researched the history of road building, and it was a very significant time. So, that we had a great time, and we were keyed in because of the Scenic Byway, Catskill Mountain Scenic Byway, with other events. We visited the Cauliflower Festival in Margaretville, which had been canceled last year, but today it was beautiful. I mean, it was all the cars lined up along the edge of the field and wandered, in the fair, and then we drove up to Hanford Mills Museum, and had little demonstrations of the sawmill, and Liz Callahan, the director up there, was so grateful. She thanked me for bringing all my friends up, because and they were very organized about it, and they had a staff member taking everyone's year and make of car and their zip code. So I'll have to contact her. When I showed up, they'd already had 30 cars check in. so, we're getting good demographics for this, and people love the drive so much. Delaware County is so beautiful, Ulster County is beautiful, but the open driving in the dairy fields up in Delaware County, it's spectacular.
It is.
If you don't want to wait another year, and last year we had such a good time that I called for running the first Catskill Covered Bridge Rally, which was based on one of the routes in the rally book, because the rally book I publish has several other driving tours. And that was so successful, I ran it again last June, and we get about 20, 25 cars for that. And we crossed 4 covered bridges in Sullivan and Delaware County, going up through Ulster County. And so I decided, let's end the season with another run of the Covered Bridge Rally. I think of it as a smaller event, and the fee is $50 instead of $100, and we'll be starting on October 30th at 10 o'clock at the Congressman Maurice D. Hinchey Catskills Visitor Center in Mount Tremper on Route 28. And from there we have a beautiful drive. I've already had, I think, 4 or 5 indications of registration for that event, and it's just a good excuse to take another drive. It'll be a Halloween Eve car rally, and everyone is invited, any car. I just had a 2022 Genesis car registered, and everything from an early MG. It's just a great drive. All of the information is at the website at 1903autorun.com. That's 1903 autorun, AUTORUN, all one word, .com, and you'll see on the home page it'll come up with the flyer and the registration for the Covered Bridge Rally.
Great. We have Robert Selkowitz on, kind enough to come on early this morning, and from the 1903 Automobile Endurance Run. I know it must have been a thrill for you that you had State Senator Michelle Hinchey.
It was such a pleasure.
Talk about that a little bit. That's where you kicked off the race at the Catskill Interpretive Center?
Yeah.
Not the race. I'm sorry. I keep calling it a race. It's a run, endurance run. It's not a race. Rally,
no
yes.
Competition. There's no place you have to be at any particular time. You get the orientation in September. John Abrams and Associates out of Newburgh, who is an insurance agent for Haggerty, which is one of my sponsors. Haggerty provides free road service for that rally, and cater to breakfast from Bread Alone. Everybody gets to see everybody, and then Michelle said a few words. Now, I've known Michelle since she was a grade school girl. My daughter Judah and Michelle were classmates from 4th grade on.
Oh.
And so, it's been especially gratifying for me to see her grow up into, a beautiful, capable, bright young woman. We were friends with the Hincheys when Judah was in preschool, and Maurice was an assemblyman. I wrote a grant for the Learning Arts Preschool in Stone Ridge as a member item. So, we go back a long way. And then, of course, the Visitor Center was his vision, and for many years the idea lay dormant. And then, I guess about 10 years ago, 15 years ago, we got going towards building, a building. And my only peeve with them is they can't get it together to have a proper sign where you can actually read Visitor Center from the road as you drive by. But aside from that, it's a beautiful building. They have new exhibits, public facilities. The bathrooms are open again. The building finally reopened in September. It was open for us when we were there September 25th. And I would encourage everyone in the region, if you're on Route 28 in Mount Tremper, you can't see the building from the road, but there's an information kiosk that was an initial project for us, for the Central Catskills Collaborative, working towards the Scenic Byway. And it was a competition among SUNY Delhi architecture students to design a kiosk, and it was funded by the Friends of the Catskill Interpretive Center, 16 panels. So you can just pull off the road and get a really good synopsis of what the Catskill region has to offer, both in terms of its history and its culture and its conservation aspects and environmental aspects. And then if you drive over the little bridge into the property, you'll see the building, and they have hiking trails, and they also have an 80-foot tall fire tower that is open to the public. So it's been a great resource. We've run 4 of our Catskill Conquest rallies starting from there, and this will be the 3rd Covered Bridge rally, and we start from there. So, just want to get more usage. People should take advantage of it.
No, I agree with you 100% about the sign, Robert. There's a huge sign that the state has put on the thruway promoting the Catskill Interpretive Center, but unless you're really watching, you can really just drive right by it. There's needs to be a better sign.
I tell you, I've been complaining about it for years. The first sign they put up, Catskill Interpretive Center, it was so small, the lettering on this, big sign, and finally they put up another sign, a wooden sign, and the only word you can read is Catskill. Catskill Visitor Center, the letters are like 2 inches high.
Right.
I don't know what the problem is, but I'm pretty vocal about my disappointment in their inability to actually put a sign up that you can read. So let's leave it at that.
Well, maybe Michelle Hinchy, since her father was the person.
Well, I did talk to her about it, and she said she can't go there. It's a little too close, but I don't know, maybe I should talk to Kevin Cahill about it.
There you go.
And I bugged Jeff Centerman, who's the executive director of the Catskill Center, which owns the property. It's DEC leases it. It's DEC, that you have to interact with. And, we have wonderful sign makers. Ken Boyer is right there on Route 28. For a few $100s, Ken could actually come up with a beautiful sign. They could screw it right over that inept version that they have, and people would actually see that it's there. I don't understand.
Yeah, I agree with you, because it is a beautiful, once you become aware of it, you have that nice kiosk there, and then going into the property, you mentioned the fire tower and the visitor center, plus they have a pavilion there. I think people, if they want to have a open lunch or picnic, I think that's open to the public, correct?
It's a beautiful pavilion. They've got the resources. They've got space. It's a big circular drive there, and when we go for the rally, the cars line up all around the circle. Very impressive. And actually, one of the fellows, Scott Cleon, who came on the rally in his Ferrari, came back last week with an Alfa Romeo in the Alfa Romeo Club, and he realized they, could have lunch there. So they stopped. He stopped in Phoenicia, got a bunch of Brio's pizzas to go, brought them down to the pavilion, and because I knew it was there, I went up there, had a couple of slices of pizza, and told them about the rallies. This is everything that we want to encourage.
Yeah.
You get people coming from the city or from other areas, and they're drawn to the Catskills, and they get up here, and it's like, where am I? What is this? I've had that experience with people. So, it's just, they should get the act together. I mean, you're a tourism professional. You see, what should be done.
No, look, I'm with you. People, let's get a little letter or email. I guess we are into that type of thing now. Email the representatives in that area. Maybe we can get a sign. It would be definitely worthwhile.
Well, I think a hard copy of a letter is also very good too.
Yep. We have Robert Selkowitz from the 1903 Automobile Endurance Run on. Anybody wants to call in, please do. 845-331-9255. We haven't talked last time or this time. I want to publicly thank you, when I was a tourism director, that you will always provide some of your great paintings for our travel guide, and I was used to spruce up the guide. It was really nice of you to donate those. Would you talk a little bit about your career in doing the painting, Robert?
Well, thank you. Yes, that's really how I came to this whole thing with the the tourism and the automobiles was through my love of the landscape in the Catskills. I've had 5 houses in Ulster and Delaware County since 1975, and I've been a painter all my adult life, ever since college, as well as drawing cars and loving sports cars. But for 5 years, I lived in Andes on Route 28 in the village in what had been the pharmacy building, and was hired by the Catskill Cultural Center and did projects for them, and then went to Bard for an MFA in painting in the early 1980s, and then moved to Rosendale, where I discovered Mohonk, did a lot of paintings at Mohonk. Those were some of the paintings that you used in the tourism guide. But to me, it's just working in the landscape has always been something that I really enjoyed. For the last, 35 years, dry pastel, has been my preferred medium because it's so direct, and I've done hundreds of pastels throughout the region, and also up here in Cape Breton, Nova Scotia, and other places around the country, in Florida and California and all different places. But and that's how the idea of the rally came to me, because I know the landscape really well. I was head of a committee to create an event for the centennial of the Catskill Park. I created the Catskill Park Centennial Chautauqua, which was out of the Catskill Mountain Foundation Mountain Culture Festival in Hunter. And Peter Finn at Hunter liked my work and was thinking about publishing some books. And one of the first books they did was a book of my pastels. And I was thinking how to organize it, and I came up with the idea of doing it as a journey. And so we laid out the book with maps showing where the paintings were done. And there's a master map of the Catskill Park region, and then detail maps for each of the locations, where I had concentrated. And we called it a painter's path through the Catskill Mountains. And so it's kind of like a treasure hunt for views. And so when I was thinking about the rally, of course I had the historic route of the 1903 endurance run to follow. And for our first couple of years, that's what we did, which was basically up Route 28 to Delhi, and then taking the Treadwell Road to Treadwell and Franklin and Unadilla, where we crossed the Susquehanna River. So that is the historic route. But then drawing on, my knowledge of beautiful roads and views, and on the advice of a couple of folks to freshen, the event, I started actually last year when we had COVID and the Cauliflower Festival was canceled. I said, well, we can branch off from Andes and go up Cabin Hill Road to Delancey and then up to Treadwell, and that would be a beautiful ride. And then we can come back and go, around here and go on Turnpike over to Elk Creek Road and come down to, Delhi and do that, and that would be a beautiful ride. So that's what we did. And this year, especially because of the investment in Delaware County with the grant they give us to, for some hard costs that funds the publication of the rally book, and I'd like to thank Delaware County Economic Development for that. This year, I said, well, let's go to Hanford Mills. Hanford Mills Museum is a wonderful resource in Delaware County, and if we go up 28 to Delhi and then over to Elk Creek Road, which is 11 miles of just beautiful road down the valley through the farms, and it brings you up to East Meredith, where Hanford Mills is, and then we can cut back to 28 and go by Polar Bear Ice Cream and get to Treadwell that way. It was fabulous. So, and then the idea of the Covered Bridge Rally was inspired by a fellow named Robert Drown, who is from Sullivan County. And when I first started to promote the idea of the rally, he was in touch with me on Facebook, and he had a 1940 Plymouth that he called the Wayback Machine. And he would take the car and pose it at different covered bridges and at the Ashokan Reservoir, and it gave me the idea of doing a covered bridge rally, which I ran for the first time for the Plymouth Owners Club. And then when I was working on the development of the rally book, I thought, well, let's add a few what I called enthusiast drivers tour loops, and the covered bridge rally, that's how that came to be. So I dedicated to Bob Drown, who passed away. He never was able to do the rally. He was just too sick. But still, that's where this all comes about. And now, I'm looking at other historic turnpikes. There's the Kahari Turnpike that goes into the Lunenburg Turnpike in Greene and Schoharie County. You could start at Athens and go all the way up to Sharon Springs. So I've been talking about that for a while, to see what that's like. Because I think there's a lot of potential in developing these non-competitive tours for people who enjoy driving, and it's open to everyone. I've had cars with a range of from 1913 to 2020 something, so everyone can participate.
I wonder. I have always maintained this is great for tourism. Your rallies. Have some of the people that have participated, I'm assuming that they must have come back to Ulster, Delaware, just experience all the things that we have here, correct?
I've been getting raves about a cafe in Franklin called the Tulip and the Rose. And it's a small place. It's, Turkish food, but Middle Eastern food. And Scott Cleon was saying, the French fries were the most delicious he'd ever had, falafels and stuff. And, there are a couple of shops. There's actually a designer, fashion designer in Franklin, has his atelier there. His name is Gary Graham. And he was on television with, Heidi Klum and Tim Gunn on Making the Cut. And my wife ordered one of his blouses from, online from seeing his work on TV. And you can just walk into his atelier. There's great antiquing and these restaurants. I actually cut it short this year. We didn't go all the way to Unadilla because I thought going to Hanford Mills would lengthen the rally. But I did a poll, and people are saying, yeah, add the extra 10 miles, let's go back. So we're going to go back to Unadilla next year. And then in 2023, for the 120th anniversary of the 1903 Automobile Endurance Run, I'd like to go all the way to Buffalo.
Wow.
And in order to do that, I needed a midpoint because that would be a 2-day. I mean, you can drive to Buffalo in 1 day, but you won't do anything else. So there was a place in Waverly out by Elmira.
Oh, yeah, I know where that is. Yep.
Yeah. And so I have contacts in Waverly, and I'm going to work with them to create a midpoint where there would be accommodations, and we'd do, a place for dinner. And then the next day you can go from Waverly and get to Buffalo, where the Buffalo Transportation and Pierce Arrow Museum is planning a permanent exhibit on the 1903 Endurance Run because the Pierce Arrow cars were built in Buffalo. And Jim Sandoro, who's the owner there, was on the Scenic Byway Committee, knew what I was talking about. He was my original mentor for developing this. And we've talked about doing something together for 2023. So, when I first laid this out, the route of the 1903 Endurance Run went through 14 counties in New York State, crossed the Hudson at Weehawken, went up the Hudson Valley to Kingston, turned west over the Catskills, went through the Catskills down to Binghamton, Elmira, then Geneseo, and out to Buffalo. Then from there they went to Erie, Cleveland, and Pittsburgh. So, 800 miles. But anyway, 14 counties in New York State. And my vision was for an automobile heritage trail. So, that would require, state programs, and I've contacted the historic organizations in all of the counties, but, developing the awareness of the heritage in the communities was important to developing the project. And so that's the long-term thing. In the meantime, we can just revel in, the beauty in the Catskill region and the Hudson Valley. But I would really like to broaden this, and so that's my long-term plan.
Well, Robert, I want to thank you for all the great work you've done with the Automobile Endurance Run 1903. If people want to get more information about it, I encourage them to go on the website. It's 1903autorun.com. And I know that you're an accomplished skier.
I post on Facebook at Historic Automobile Endurance Runs.
Okay.
Because I established Historic Automobile Endurance Runs, LLC, to develop this. And I had started a page for Catskill Conquest Rally, but Facebook, for some reason, doesn't let me post on that. So if you go to the website, there is a window onto that Facebook page. And, I'm pretty active there and on my personal page. So, but the website is a good way to get the history, see what we're doing. All of the maps, there are maps for the routes and directions, because, I understand every weekend is competitive for events, and I wanted to make, these tours available to everyone at any day.
Well, all the best, and you're an accomplished skier, I know. So maybe when you're getting ready in the ski season, maybe we'll have you on. You give us a little ski report.
Oh, listen, I'd love that. I was an instructor, back in my youth at Bobcat when I lived in Andes. We're talking about the early '80s, and I just got my midweek pass renewed for Hunter, and I'd love to do that.
Well, we'll definitely have you on. So appreciate it. Have a good time up where you are in Maine, and we'll see you when you get back. And many thanks for being on again, Robert Selkowitz.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Rick.
Take care. All right. Got a little break. We're going to have Jeff Kaplan, mayor of Ellenville, coming up, Lawrence.
You're listening to Kingston Community Radio on WGHQ Kingston. On your radio at 920 AM and 92.5 FM, and also online at mykcr.org.
This is the story of Daniel, who was born 2 months early. His lungs weren't ready. His heart wasn't ready. His parents could only hope that one day he would leave the hospital healthy, and they would all live happily ever after. Daniel's is just one of the more than 500,000 stories of babies born prematurely last year. You can help the March of Dimes stop premature birth and bring more babies home healthy. Learn how at marchofdimes.com. Working together for stronger, healthier babies.
Introducing the YMCA. Sure, you know the Y for a swim or a game of hoops, but we're more than that. We're a cause. When you take a jump shot at the Y, someone else is getting job training. Practice yoga as a team practices her leadership skills. We give people of all ages, incomes, and backgrounds a chance to learn, grow, and thrive. So while you might think of the Y as the place for lifting weights, we're also about lifting entire communities. That's the Y. We're so much more. Visit ymca.net/more.
Question: what will you find on all over-the-counter or OTC medicine packages to help you choose the right drug and use it safely? The answer: the Drug Facts label. This label lists the medicine's active ingredients and purpose, how much to take, and warnings you should know before using it. Remember, even OTC medicines you buy without a prescription can cause side effects you don't want. So follow the information listed on the Drug Facts label. For more information, visit fda.gov/Drug Facts label. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
Hi, this is Tony Marmo from Norman Staffing, and we've been bringing together employers and job seekers since 1980. If you're an employer and have job vacancies, let Norman Staffing help fill them with permanent or temporary workers. We screen, interview, and recommend the best candidates for your company. We make the employment process easier and faster for you. Please call Norman Staffing for your employment needs at 338-9111, 338-9111, or normanstaffing.com.
Hi, I'm Ruth Quick from town of Ulster. I support Kingston Community Radio, and you should too.
This portion of Kingston Community Radio is brought to you by Ulster Savings Bank. Visit their newest branch, conveniently located at the Ulster Commons Plaza in Lake Katrine. Experience the difference that local community banking offers with the convenience of another great location, easy access, plenty of parking, and a 24-hour ATM. Ulster Savings Bank, invested in community, invested in you. Member FDIC.
All right, we're back on this foggy Friday morning. We have just two birthdays. First one is, please wish a happy birthday to Mark Molinaro. I'm assuming that's the Dutchess County
I'm assuming it is too. I know he listens to our show, so I would imagine that it's spelled the same way.
Yep. Well, happy birthday, Mark. We're non-political normally in this show, but good luck in your run for Congress.
Ditto.
It's your birthday. And since it's from family and friends, and since you're the only one on today, Friday, you're going to be a birthday winner of the famous cow pie. So Boyce Dairy Milk House, courtesy of the Milk House and Kingston Community Radio. So come on over to Ulster and have one of those. And there's no birthdays Saturday, but Sunday we'd like to please wish Caitlin Gleason a very happy 14th birthday Sunday. All our love from Mom, Dad, Grandma, Grandpa, and Cooper, Bob, and Miss Daisy. And
Miss Daisy?
Miss Daisy. So that's Caitlin. Actually, I was wrong. We have another birthday. Kristen Ferris from your friends at People's Place. We hope you enjoy your special day. And Kristen Ferris is our winner.
You got the first one excited.
I'm sorry. Maybe we could make an exception since I screwed up. Maybe we could.
You never screwed anything up.
Let's give them both the cow pie.
Yeah, happy birthday to both of you.
Yeah.
Now, we do have your next guest on the line, the mayor of Ellenville.
Very happy to have longtime mayor of Ellenville, Jeff Kaplan. Mr. Mayor, how are you this morning?
Very good. Appreciate the invite. And it's great to speak to you on a Friday morning, my favorite day of the week.
Yeah, me too. I'm looking forward to the weekend. So, Mayor, Jeff, how long have you been mayor of Village of Ellenville?
This is my 20th year, and through this term, it'll be 22 years.
Fantastic. Well, I have to say that go back with you pretty much that entire time since I was a tourism director for 15 years. I worked on a couple committees with you, and before that I was the marketing director for the Neville Grand, and I always tried my best to promote that area because Ellenville, I don't want to say it's a hidden gem because you're starting to get quite a bit of acclaim and for what's going on in Ellenville. So you do a fantastic job as mayor. So, and I guess the voters must agree if they have you back for all these terms, right?
Well, that's the optimistic way of looking at it. The other way is, I get it out of default, but I'll take it either way.
Well, I think
it's a fun ride. And by the way, it's really been great working with you through the years. We miss you already. Your heart was always on our side of the county, which oftentimes we don't get. So we appreciated all your support.
Well, I appreciate that, and I know the sentiment over in Ellenville, and I always did my best to make sure that you didn't get the short shrift. So let's talk about some of the exciting things going on in the village and town. Obviously, one of the people that, speaking of missing, is one of my favorite people working with officials in the area was Joe Steckler, and I know how much you miss Joe. It's been a couple years. Talk about what he meant to the community.
Joe was a businessman that went into a government. I wouldn't call him a politician, but he took the same energy into the government position that he had in business and wanted to see us succeed. I've, through my 20 years, have had a number of village managers, and I'd say it's been a good ride. I've had some great village managers, Mary Sheely, Elliot Auerbach, and our current village manager, Mike Warren. There was something about Joe that made him special. At every meeting, every village meeting, there's a list of items that the board comes up with. And, could you look into this? Can you look into that? And I'm not casting aspersions on my managers through the years, but just in general, I find that oftentimes bureaucrats hope that the government officials forget what they were asking for and just move on. Joe Steckler, that list, whatever the list was, on Monday night was completed by the time I got to my office Tuesday morning. It was incredible, but he made sure that every one of the items brought up the meeting was resolved, looked into, and he had an answer for on Tuesday morning. And we miss him tremendously down here. He had an eye on Ellenville and what it could potentially be that's now starting to be seen by others. And so we do miss him, and we were just happy and fortunate that we had an opportunity to remember him by naming the Shawanga Country Club, which was purchased by the village, after him following his death.
Well, by the way, we have Mayor Jeff Kaplan from Ellenville on the air. Anybody would like to call in, talk to him, ask him any questions, 331-9255. Let's talk about how you, the village, and was able to save Shawanga Country Club, because you know me being a golfer, but played there a number of years, and I still go over there. You guys did a fantastic job. The club seems now Steckler Memorial Park seems to be really doing well. Can you talk about how you were able to do that, and how things are going since you basically saved Shawanga Country Club?
Sure. Well, there wasn't, for years the club had started to fail. There's no question that golf just doesn't have the same enthusiasm, for lack of a better term, that it did years ago, although it's making a clear comeback, whether it was COVID or just people rediscovering the sport. And the country club itself, the membership, which was self-owned, was really having financial issues. One of the problems, frankly, is that private golf courses have a tax liability that a municipality doesn't have, and it's a challenge to do that, pay the water bills, pay all the expenses, and make the thing work, and maintain and keep up the equipment for it. So they were literally forced to sell, and a developer came in to put a housing development on that site. For those that haven't been there, I urge you to take a visit someday, because when you stand in the parking lot and look out over the gunks, it is the most magnificent scene. I don't think there's another golf course within the county, if not the whole region, that has a prettier view when you're standing just walking onto the course than the Shawanga Country Club. In fact, I'll speak later about some of the other opportunities we're looking into for that club. But in any case, we were fortunate enough to have a bunch of money we received from Open Space Development when they purchased our OSI, Open Space Institute, when they purchased a portion of the Catskill or the Gunks that we owned back in the late 1990s. And that money has been sitting in trust. It started out at 3.8. We've had some projects we dealt with, but we were able to use some of that money to purchase the club. It was subject to a vote by the municipality. The vote was 456 to 52. So the community was strongly supportive of keeping this property open and as a golf course. And so we purchased it. There was a lot of fear along the way because, the prior owners, as I mentioned, were having financial problems, and there was no guarantee that we were going to make up for them. We started off with getting a top-flight manager of the course greenskeeper from the Mohonk course, and he really started us on the line of maintaining this course and bringing it back to its glory days. And then I got to say the pandemic really helped golfing in general because it was a sport that you could sort of stay away and keep your distance from others and still get out in the fresh air when people were basically, other than that, hiding in their homes. And we have done incredibly well. Along the way, the other golf course in our area, Honors Haven, was forced to close. So we were the only show in town. We have a reasonable fee policy, and so we've been extremely busy. The course has been incredibly maintained. We were able to upgrade the equipment for our greenskeeper, and the course is playing great, gets a lot of play. Everyone loves playing there, and we see a very rosy future for that property.
Well, I can attest to the fact that it is in fantastic shape. I played there earlier this summer, and it is busy. So I encourage people to get out there. And I've always maintained that, and I agree with you 100% on the views of the Gunks. It's beautiful. But people, you look at the scorecard, and it's less than 6,000 yards, I think, from no matter how far you try to stretch it out. But that is not an easy golf course. You got to hit the ball straight. The greens are small, but it's a challenge. So I know I used to be on the Hurricane Committee, county championship. We've had rounds there, and nobody ever seems to score as low as they think they should. Right?
Right. No, it's I've heard many people say if you can meet the challenge of that golf course, you can play any course, because one of the things is there's hills both up and down along the way, and so if you can get your footing proper on that course and hit the ball true, you're going to be good on any course, and so people like to go there for the challenge of doing that.
And the restaurant is open. Talk about the owner there, and they seem to be doing pretty well in the restaurant too.
Yes, the restaurant is, Ellenville is in a unique position, being in the valley surrounded by mountains, and I find that in general the restaurants have not taken advantage of placing themselves where you have a great scenery while you're eating. That's not true of the restaurant at the Country Club at the Steckler Park. You sit on the deck there overlooking one of the most magnificent views in the county, and I would urge anyone who's looking for a different place to eat to come out and eat at our restaurant at the Country Club. Sit on the deck overlooking the golf course and the Gunks, and you'll be pleasantly surprised and really enjoy yourself.
I know that there had been some talk of possible winter activities, weather permitting, getting the snow and all that. Once the golf course closes this fall, Jeff, do you have any plans as far as winter sports there at Steckler Memorial Park?
Yeah, we have, just in general, some exciting plans for that property. While it is exclusively at this point a golf course during the golfing months, the long-term plans are to put in a 2-mile walking path along the perimeter, make each one of the tee boxes into a sculpture event as you're walking or even as you're playing. And between the 9th and the first hole, there's some space there. We plan to build an amphitheater into the hill. And while you're sitting and listening to music or entertainment, having just an incredible view looking out over the Gunks. And we're moving forward on that plan. We've already spoken to the Albany Symphonic Orchestra, and they are on board to make Ellenville their summer home. So it's an exciting plan and use of the property, and we feel that we'll be able to maintain a good golf course and still be able to use that property for other uses. Now, during the winter, The first year, this is going into our third winter now, we had ice skating and tubing. The ice skating part was a challenge. If you don't have basically refrigeration ice skating in that position because of the way the sun beats on the course, it didn't seem to work. You know, I think whether it's global warming, it just hasn't been as cold, so the ice skating part didn't work. But on those weekends when we had snow on the course, and there were several of them, it was an incredible opportunity for kids to come out and enjoy the winter in a way that they haven't been able to in many years. In fact, we had one weekend, one Saturday, there were 300 people there for tubing, and we have a great setup in which you tube down a relatively steep hill, safe but steep, so you get a nice ride, and at the bottom we pick you up with a snowmobile and bring you back up to the top.
Oh,
and the price was $10 a person, and people never questioned that they were getting more than their money's worth in that, because it was 2 or 3 hours of literally just going up and down a hill and not having to walk up the hill, which is the exhausting part of snow sleighing. So it was a great way to use that property, and we hope to, winter weather with us, hopefully, this winter. We will be expanding that use.
Well, great. Well, much success with that. We have, this is Rick Remsnyder with Mayor Jeff Kaplan in Ellenville on the air. You know, 3-4 times a year, I try, there's a lot of great restaurants here in the Kingston area, but I still have a soft spot in my heart for Ellenville. So I make sure that I get over to Restaurant Row. There's so many great restaurants there. I'm working with, when I was tourism director, working with Marcus Giuliano of Aromatime Bistro, and talk about some of the restaurants you have, how Restaurant Row did. And I know the last couple of years during the summer you've been closing down the street so people can eat on the street, correct?
Yes, yeah. It's one of the real, it was hidden, but it's not that hidden now based on the traffic we get down there. But at one point in time, probably in the early 2000 period, you could close down the streets of Ellenville and literally throw a bowling ball down Canal Street and wouldn't hit anything because the streets were closed. And then slowly, first of all, the revival of the Shadowland Theater in the middle of Canal Street, and then Marcus opening up Aromatime, and then Gabby's coming in, the Mexican restaurant, and then he bought Cohen's Bakery as well.
Yep.
And then 2 Italian restaurants opening up, Marabella's and Tony and Nick's, and the Public House opening up, and then Sammy Brown's coming down from Cragsmore into the middle of Ellenville, and it really just bolstered our whole area down there. Since that time, we've opened up another restaurant, Carly's. We have a great coffee place, Twins Raven, and then there's also a pop-up place that has become very popular down the road where there used to be a hardware store. They reopened now as bakery goods and coffee, and they're just doing a terrific business there. And then a group of the newcomers to Ellenville started what they call Market on Market, which is one Friday a month starting in May and going through October. And it has been an incredible success of merchants coming down, and it's really happening on those Friday nights. It's the last Friday of each month, and there'll be one at the end of October, and they hope to expand that, but it's just been a huge success. And, when you have a busy place, parking is a problem, and when I came in as a mayor, I said, I only hope someday that people will come in and complain about the parking.
Right.
And it's happening. So every time they come in, I'd smile because there's places to park. You may not be able to park in front of where you're going anymore, but on any given day on Canal Street, that street is packed with cars from people like yourself coming down and enjoying what we call Restaurant Row.
Well, I felt the same way being I now live in the Kingston area, but being a longtime resident of New Paltz, people used to complain because, the traffic for the Woodstock New Paltz Crafts Fair, the Ulster County Fair, and all the other things going on. And I said, bring the traffic. I don't care how, I'll find the back ways, or I'll find to get around the traffic. Nothing wrong with having traffic because it's good for business.
Absolutely. We urge people to come down. We have, sometimes the reputation is not really what the facts are, and we have a very safe community. We're very proud of our Ellenville Police Department. They walk the streets regularly. There's a presence down there, and everybody can feel safe there. I regularly walk at night down into town, and it's one of the safest places to walk in a urban type environment that you'll find anywhere.
Yeah, I agree 100%. People, please go to Ellenville. It's a great place to visit and spend your money. I know you had a press conference, County Executive Pat Ryan, yourself, Terry Houck, the supervisor, and some other officials. What's the deal? What do you expect for the benefits, and do you have any time frame for this proposed cannabis plant?
Yeah, well, we were very proud of the fact that Cresco Labs, one of the major players in the production of cannabis, chose Ellenville after an exhaustive search for a headquarters, and they are now doing their due diligence at the site. Of course, they need a permit from the state before they can move forward, and our former state senator Metzger, who's now the head of that committee, is finally getting things moving so that they will shortly be considering applications. But basically, it's on the site of the old Schrade/Channelmaster factory. They will be building a high-end, high-technology place inside, greenhouse-type place to grow cannabis, and promising upwards of 300 jobs. So it's an exciting thing. It'll bring a lot of jobs to the Ellenville area. Along with parking, another problem that you hope to have is housing for workforce housing, and that's a problem we are now focusing on and dealing with together with the town of Warsing.
Well, great. I 300 jobs. That really sounds fantastic. So I hope sounds like that's going to come to fruition. Talk about the, being with Neville for 5 years as a marketing director. I don't want to get too excited because we've seen so many plans there come and go with the casino and other projects. I read something last month about proposed developer looking at the Neville. Anything you can share with our listeners on that at this point?
Yes, we definitely can. The Neville property was the jewel of the Ellenville area for years. When you mentioned Ellenville, invariably people would say, oh yeah, I was at the Neville, I honeymooned at the Neville. Some link to Ellenville included the Neville. And it's been a real loss for the area once the Neville closed. Frankly speaking, while we all supported the idea of a casino coming to the Neville, with what's happened to the casinos, we're pretty happy that we didn't get that. And we think that, all things seem to turn out for the best if you wait long enough. And the current people that are looking at the Neville have plans and have already invested a significant amount of money, so it is real. And what they plan to do to that property, I can only, I'll quote a former resident of Ellenville who's involved in the air conditioning and heating business out of Manhattan and is hoping to get involved with this project. He said, Jeff, I looked at this project, and the only thing that really is the most exciting thing is this is a project that you do not see in the Catskill Mountains. This is a project that you might see outside of Beverly Hills in California. It's at that level. It's an environmentally friendly project in which they will be putting up a number of single-family homes starting in the seven-figure number for purchase of those homes, together with a boutique hotel and cabins associated with the hotel, and then a small condo development on that property as well. They will not be reviving the golf course. In fact, the sponsors of this project came to the village already and said, we are interested in hiring a golf architect to come to your golf course and make your golf course as exciting and challenging as any 9-hole course you're going to find in the world. And so this has really added a level of excitement to owning the Steckler Park, and the future for that property is very rosy at this point. So, until it's there and open, you just keep your fingers crossed. But this looks like the real deal. They already have an all-star team together of architects, engineers, and planners to put this plan into effect at the Neville. And in fact, their architect has been approached to help us build the bandstand for the amphitheater at the country club, and can only add to the excitement that's building over there.
Well, it would be fingers crossed. Sounds very encouraging, Mayor. I don't need to tell you how much that would mean to Ellenville if we could get that back going. And I agree with you. I didn't think a casino was a great use for the property either. But this sounds fantastic. Well, we've come to the end of a half hour. I really appreciate Mayor Jeff Kaplan being on, and let's have you back after the winter. We can talk. There's a lot of other things we can talk about in Ellenville, correct?
Yeah, downtown Ellenville, which we haven't really touched on other than the restaurants, is just exploding with new projects. It's been discovered, and there are people from Kingston that see this because it's such a pedestrian-friendly village as the next Kingston redo, and there's been some purchase from Kingston people, and then people from the city that might have found homes here as an escape from the city or from COVID relief are now focused on the downtown of Ellenville and saying, hey, why go back to the city when we have a jewel like this here? And over the next 2 or 3 years, you're going to see a Ellenville that is going to be a destination.
Well, a lot of it has to do with your hard work. We appreciate it, Jeff. Have a great weekend, and thanks for calling in.
And thanks for the invite.
Okay, take care.
Always a pleasure.
All right, Lawrence, we're going to have one of my good friends, Jeremy Ellenbogen, coming on. So let's take a break, and we'll be right back.
You're listening to Kingston Community Radio on WGHQ Kingston. On your radio at 920 AM and 92.5 FM, and also online at mykcr.org.
There was this one time I went snorkeling in the Caribbean when I was a kid. It really just blew my mind. We saw the most beautiful corals. I remember thinking they were waving at us as they moved with the ocean. And then there were all these amazing fish. I'll never forget it. It completely changed the way I look at the ocean.
Most of us have a memory of being in nature we'll never forget. Let's protect the world's natural places so more memories can be made for generations to come. Visit worldwildlife.org.
We are Lions. We bring hope where it's needed. We are a global force for good. Support causes that matter. Change lives. Change communities. Change the world. We can do more together than we can alone. Join in. Experience the joy of serving. Be part of the movement. Give back. Let's unite the world for good. We are Lions. You can be too. Visit weserve.org.
Have you ever experienced a wish come true? For a child battling a critical illness, a wish come true can be a turning point. One song, one dance, one game, one adventure, one moment changes everything. Make-A-Wish needs your support to grant the wish of every eligible child. Visit wish.org now to help grant more life-changing wishes. Together, we can transform lives, one wish at a time.
Hi, my name is Jackie Lovezzo. I'm from Lake Katrine, and I support Kingston Community Radio because it is an invaluable resource to the community and its residents.
A powerful community bank is one that has leaders that are involved in their community. At Rondout Savings Bank, they invest in the success of our community by working side by side with local people and local businesses. When you choose to bank Rondout, you are part of a bank that is dedicated to the future of your success and the success of your community. Rondout Savings welcomes you to open an account today and discover what it means to be part of a powerful community bank, one that knows you by name. Rondout Savings Bank, always working for you and our community, with branches in Kingston, West Hurley, and Hyde Park, also online at rondoutbank.com. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
All right, we're back, Lawrence. You know, it's always great to have people on phone-ins. We had Robert Selkowitz.
It's better to have him in the studio.
Absolutely, and one of my best friends. I haven't seen you since the pandemic.
I know, it's been a while.
So it's Jeremy Ellenbogen, and good morning.
Good morning, Rick. It's a pleasure to be here. Geez, it's really great. I tell you, it's been a while since we worked together through tourism and all the great projects and stuff that we produced, and videos and all the digital media assets, and maybe swung a golf club here and there.
We did a few times.
Not enough,
yeah,
of course.
Yeah. Well, I have to say, and people probably get tired of me saying, when I used to be tourism director for 15 years, some of the proudest work that we did was with you and Focus Media. Used to be our advertising agency for 4 or 5 years. And it's still up on our website, Ulster County Alive, the golf video and some of the other videos that we did. That was a lot of fun, too.
Food and beverage video.
All of
the there's so many great things to show off in Ulster County. So what a better way to do it, right? Through video.
It was really good, and it kind of breaks my heart when I go up there and I revisit them every once in a while and see Tommy Keegan on there. He was such a lively guy, and he did a great job on that craft beverage video.
Yeah, local legend for sure.
Yeah,
definitely.
So let's get started with some of the projects really exciting that you've been involved in. We'll get to the 721 Media Center in a while, but what's going on with your 32 Partition Street project in Saugerties?
Well, thanks for asking, Rick. It was a very interesting project. Back in January of this year, 2021, we acquired a church. It was the Saugerties Baptist Church. It was actually the first Baptist church. It was built in 1890. And, it was a beautiful structure, beautiful building. It did have a school attached to it. We decided that we were originally going to create a brewery in the space. This was obviously pre-pandemic, before everything kind of collapsed. And we decided that, after the pandemic, we still wanted to go for the building. We still wanted to transform this beautiful church into something great. But we decided not to do the brewery. Probably a smart idea. What we decided to do was to create a professional workspace out of it for entrepreneurs who wanted a small office space. So we transformed this building, which was in it was in rough shape. It needed a lot of work. It didn't have any parking, so we had to tear down the school building that was attached to it, that 10,000 square foot brick building that we tore down and cleared the site. Did a lot of work to create a really nice parking lot there. And then we restored this church. I mean, the stained glass was all original. The beautiful slate roof. I mean, the architecture that we have here in the Hudson Valley is just so fantastic. And especially Saugerties. I mean, every corner there's a church, right? And years ago, Kingston's the same way here. And there's just so many beautiful spots. And we wanted to take this building that, was potentially, something that could have been destroyed, as it fell into disrepair. And many of these congregations just can't afford to keep these old churches up, you know? And what do? They were down to 9 parishioners. How are 9 people going to pay for all the expenses on a church? So we came up with the idea to restore the church, not to to take down any of its integrity, like the stained glass and the beautiful brick and all the structure of it, restore it the way it was back in 1890 when it was built, and then take the interior of the building, the actual, I call it the hull of the building, right, and create a multi-level office building inside of it. So it was an enormous design challenge. Our architect, local guy, Paul Jankovitz here in Kingston, he said it was probably one of the hardest projects that he worked on to try to, convert this old church into something that was modern and could be ADA accessible. We had to put elevators in the building, and
Wow.
And make everything up to today's code. So we did that. So we basically knocked the one building down, the school building, in March. And then from March all the way to August, we just opened August 1st of this year. So a lot of the great ideas came from my wife, Dara, who I give a lot of credit to as far as the design. We partnered on this project. And I couldn't have done the design work or putting this whole thing together without her. She was just totally instrumental in making it happen. So, so we renovated this building, created 30 office spaces inside of it. People say, "Oh, is it just one office?" No,
That wouldn't be very economically beneficial, would it?
No, and they're all entrepreneur spaces.
Right.
And the one thing that we heard, of course, I live in Saugerties. I literally live around the corner on Lafayette Street, right in the village. And a lot of what we had heard from people in Saugerties and what we knew was that there was not a lot of office space available if you were maybe a nail salon or if you were an individual practitioner of some sort, graphic designer or a media company or whoever you are. There's not a lot of options in Saugerties for an office space. You can get retail. There's plenty of retail spaces, but the cost and the size of that, it's not necessarily conducive for a small business. So we created, as I said, 30 of these spaces in a 13,400 square foot building. And beautiful common areas in the building, lounges. We have, it's chock full of amenities, of course, Wi-Fi, and I had to carry my digital media side of me into this building as well to make it modern. And that's what we did. As I said, we opened in August, and we're about 80% occupied right now.
Wow,
which is
that's great.
Without doing any marketing. So it just kind of shows the need for for this in this particular area.
Well, 80% occupied already in several months. That's unbelievable. And, Jeremy, Saugerties is no longer a sleepy little town.
Definitely not.
And I think it was a great use of that building because, we hear constantly about all the businesses, tech businesses or whatever they are relocating from the city to Kingston. Well, Saugerties is certainly just as a useful place and a lot of great things happening in the village there. So I'm not surprised that you've been able to draw that many new businesses in such a short period of time.
Yeah, it's been, the construction of it was a very big challenge. As you know, it was one of the hardest times we could have done this during a pandemic. Very supply shortages all over the place.
Costly now.
Costs were, if you can get materials, you're paying 3 times what they were a year prior. Just getting the resources of help and people to do it. So we used, local contractors to work on it. I even, I hung up my golf clubs for a little while and swung a hammer as well. So I did help out in the construction process. And as I said, Dara did all the design work of pretty much everything that you see. And I'd love to, give you a tour. Unfortunately,
Absolutely.
we're on the radio, but
yeah, we'll get
we
there
can give you a
sometime.
visual tour.
Yeah.
The theater of the mind, like Orson Welles. And definitely have to get there to check out what we've done with it. We are very proud of it.
Love to.
And to see what we've done. I mean, it's funny because when we did the 721 building on 721 Broadway, back in 2006, it was a similar situation. Wasn't quite as bad, but everything was inflated. Remember, copper costs were so
sure.
expensive. Labor costs were very high at that point as well. And this was obviously before, everything crashed back in 2010. But, geez, I guess I picked bad timing for everything, Rick. I don't know what it is. But
Well, it seems like things have ended up pretty well for you, Jeremy. This is Jeremy Ellenbogen with Rick Remsnyder. Anybody want to call in? 331-9255. Before we move on to 721, how did you and Dara become aware of this building?
It was probably by accident.
Right.
We drove up and down. The building had been for sale for years, almost 10 years. It was on the market. It was listed, over $1 million, to buy the building. Unfortunately, the real issue was that no one could figure out what to do with it because there was no parking. So people could not wrap in their minds that they would need to tear a building down that was perfectly fine in order to create room for parking. So, the village parking ordinance was pretty strict, and, in order to create it into an office building, which it was zoned for, we would have had to comply with the parking regulations because we're changing its use from a church, a religious,
Right.
Facility to a commercial venture. So, Dara went back and forth. She woke up one morning and said, "I've got it. I know what to do." I'm like, "Really? What?" She's like, "We're going to tear this building down and we're going to make it a beautiful parking lot and we're going to make, restore the church." I'm like, "Okay, that seems a little risky, but let's do it." So, that's what we did. And then, 10 years, as I said, just going back to your question, 10 years went by and, they didn't get any bites on the building and they lowered the price and we just happened to see it because, again, we were looking for a building in the Saugerties Catskill area to try to turn into a brewery.
Right.
And I've seen church breweries in other states and was pretty impressed with it, so I thought this would be a great idea, but unfortunately, no. But anyway, we found it and we made an offer. And this was right, obviously prior to the pandemic, before everything spiked. So we did get an excellent price on the building. Of course, we put a lot of money into the renovation of it, but we made it happen.
What type of businesses do you have in there so far?
What the great thing is it's such a variety of companies that are in there. And, we have everything, there's many healthcare practitioners in there. We have some technology people. Of course, on a building like that, I would have to have some tech people. Yep. We have some audio engineers, and there's a video editor, a designer. We do have a hair salon. There's a jewelry maker and manufacturer that's in there, that does small packaging of jewelry. And then we have, some regular office people. We do have a yoga studio that's in there. So it is truly a cross-section. It's not quite as media-focused as the 721 building is, but it just makes for this great family environment when you go there. And, the funny question I get is, everybody's trained to work from home now, so how are you guys doing?
Right.
They asked me cautiously because they're thinking I'm going to give them, kind of a negative answer. But I said, we're full at 721. We have a waiting list, and at 32 Partition, the new venture, the sizes of the space are small and affordable. People are dying to get out of their homes. They've been cooped up for so long. They're zoomed out.
Yeah, sure.
And they love to be able to interact with people again in an environment. And if you're a practitioner, like a therapist, for instance, we do have several therapists in the building. They don't want to have people come and meet in their living room. So, you need to create a small environment, but you need something that's affordable and that's safe and that's open 24 hours a day to accommodate people's different schedules. So, the answer is yes, people are still, connecting remotely and working from home, but that does not change the dynamic of people needing to work with other individuals and see other people in the community. So I think a lot of people are just tired of working from home and want their own space.
Look, this might not be the most popular view in the world, but I don't think that it's healthy for businesses and individuals. You got to have to be working from home all the time. I mean, you have to have that face-to-face. I know in tourism and hospitality, If you don't have that interaction with clients and businesses, it's just not the same. And, first of all, Zoom used to drive me crazy because if you don't, and wherever you have a business, your Wi-Fi is going to be, top notch and people can get through. Well, I'd be working out of my apartment sometimes, and if the Wi-Fi just not that great, and you're disconnected or you can't see the people, it used to drive me crazy.
Rick, I thought you did that purposely. Oh, sorry, we have a bad connection here.
Well, I have used that on occasion. You caught me there, but you're right. Jeremy, if anybody is interested in perhaps getting a space at 32 Partition, what's the easiest way to get you?
Well, we do not have a website yet at this point.
Right.
We are using Facebook. So if you can look us up at 32 Partition on Facebook, like us, you can check out everything that we're doing. You can also call us. Our number is 845-331-0551. Okay. And you can reach us anytime. You can always send us an email as well. You can send it to myself, Jeremy, Jeremy, at ellenbogen.com. And you can get us, or you can just Google us, right?
Right, there you go.
It's even faster.
For those that aren't that familiar with downtown Saugerties, where is the building in relation to some of the other businesses in Saugerties or restaurants that people might know about?
Right, well, that's the great thing. So it is on Partition Street. So
it's just like the main thoroughfare.
It's the main thoroughfare. However, it's on the, I guess you'd say, the north side of Partition Street. Right. I think it's north. Or north or west, whatever, which way. But anyway, so you go through the light, cross Main Street, go through onto Partition. You can pass Dallas Hot Wieners, and we are directly across the street from Donlin Auditorium. We're by the Boys and Girls Club across from them, and the firehouse and the village offices. So we're right there. It's nice. So we're only 4 buildings off the main street, and yet it's a quieter community that has...
So you're close to the Orpheum Theater there?
Yes, we're right around the corner from that. We're around the corner from the Exchange Hotel and all of the restaurants and everything. So we're right there. We're right there. And as I said, the greatest thing is we have our own parking lot. I know that's a big issue. It's a big issue here in Kingston as well, especially uptown. And it's a very big issue in Saugerties is where do you park? So, we're one of the few and lucky establishments that has its own, 40-car parking lot.
Right.
So that was a good thing.
Well, you certainly will have me visiting there, because when you said Dallas Hot Wieners, we'll go do a little tour of the building, and then I'll buy you lunch.
Oh, geez.
They're only $10, right, for
That's right.
2 hot dogs and fries or whatever.
That's perfect.
So we have Jeremy Ellenbogen here, Rick Remsnyder. Feel free to call in, 331-9255. So let's talk about what's happening. One of my favorite places, 721 Media Center. I mean, what you did to that building, I go back to the old days when it was WTZA and in the old days, and you did a remarkable renovation with all your studios and everything there. Talk about what's going on with your business there these days.
Sure, absolutely. Of course, I love Kingston. I'm born and raised from Kingston, went to Kingston High School. For anybody that doesn't know, that was previously many things, but before my time, it was WTZA from 1984 to 2005, Basically, they were TZA, and then WRNN-TV was operating that. They did renovate that building into a TV studio at that time. We took it over in 2006, and we did years and years of renovation, and still we continue. In fact, we're re-renovating the spaces that we did back then to convert it. And it always takes a different form, right? It was built as a media center, so it was designed back in 2006 when we did the first renovation. It was built specifically for media companies, in television, video, audio, graphic design, the internet, and such. Now we have made it a little bit more diverse. So it's still predominantly media companies that are in there, and technology groups, software developers, IT. Radio Kingston has a space in there now as well, and operate out of there. And it is more diverse than it was, but there's a lot of exciting things and a lot of great work that's being done out of that building as well. In fact, Senator Hinchy is in the building now as well. So
that's good.
There's a lot of great dynamic, great young energy that's in the building. So it's very exciting.
Well, you did so much great work there. The one thing I miss is seeing your folks, and the one thing with, and be sure to pass along my regards to both of them. And when I would go to see Henry, I'd say, Henry, take it easy with my hand here. I mean, the guy, I don't know how old your father is, but
that way.
He's like, I say, man, you're got a strong grip there.
That's why I can't shake his hand. He's going to be 82, and
wow.
and he'll still put you on the ground. He's got the grip of a 20-year-old.
Yeah, I know. He's he's an amazing guy. So.
Yeah, we originally started as a family business. I did buy them out about 4 years ago, so they did retire, and
good for them.
We did a nice buyout, and they obviously were still very close. They're still living here in Kingston, and stop in periodically. And they were very well known, very well liked in the community. Ran a business since 1984, and gave me a lot of my start. So it's different dynamic, to not have them there on a daily basis.
Sure.
But,
I can't, to have you in here is such a treat. I can't have you leave without asking you what you think the future of promotions of like things like tourism, and it's changed so much. I can remember like 20 years ago it was like print and all that, and then we started with the video and digital, and we went from long form videos to now it's like going to like 20 or 30
TikTok videos, right?
Yeah, 30 seconds. So yeah, TikTok, the whole thing. So what is the future of the business? What is really working these days in your opinion?
Well, mobile is definitely where it's at. Everybody has a mobile device. What other type of medium do you have that everyone has on them all the time?
Yep.
A mini computer attached to their hip or to their face in their hands. So, clearly social media, which was thought of as just a connection platform from person to person, has become, an incredible advertising platform. It's obvious. Look at the stock, the stock from Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, and you'll see why. It really is a direct connection. But I'll tell you, connecting with people, directly on site is also a great thing. Sometimes I see some of the old methods are coming back, believe it or not.
Like what, for instance?
Just even direct mailing. And people have gotten away from that personalized letters. I mean, look, I'm a tech guy, right? So I've been around technology my whole life. And, some of the stuff we've invented, we were some of the first to use drones, back 10 years ago. And we used a lot of that stuff and stuff that we produce for you as well.
Yep.
But, sometimes just the old connection, the old handshakes and going to events and trade shows and just talking up what you do is so important. If you're talking specifically for tourism, I think connecting through digital platforms are probably the best and the most cost effective because you know exactly who you're reaching.
Right.
It's so hyper targeted.
Yep.
You can pinpoint. It's no more, a shotgun approach. It's literally a laser.
And it's a little scary if, you're just, I can't tell you how many times when I'm on the website, I'm on whatever the platform is, and on the side here comes, this golf course and that golf course. How they reach you is, amazing.
Well, follow marketing. It's based on things you've searched.
Yep.
Things that you've typed into Facebook and Instagram.
Yep.
It remembers that. It mines that data, and it basically serves up ads that are specific to what it thinks you might enjoy or might be interested in. So it's good. It's a little scary.
Yeah, it is.
Right?
Well, it's interesting with the drone because I can remember when we did a golf video when we were out at the old Rondow Country Club, and you guys were way ahead of the curve, and you had a drone out there on the golf course, and I would be whoever the person was, whether it was me or whether it was somebody else in a fairway. Okay, get ready to shoot, get ready to hit that shot, and I'm looking up above that. Really, this is going to work? But there's nothing like and I see golf videos and golf courses, properties. It doesn't have to be golf, but everything else, taking advantage of what the drone has to offer.
Totally, I know.
Beautiful shots of Mohonk.
The stuff we did. It was incredible. Of course, everybody has one now, but you got to start somewhere, right? Sometimes, and that's one of the things that we've been very proud of is our ability to look a little bit into the future, not just follow everyone else, but sometimes invent new ideas, new technologies, be creative. It doesn't necessarily mean throwing a lot of money at something. It could just be think a little bit differently. And, that's what I think has made us a little bit different than other people and other companies.
Well, you've always been ahead of the curve and do a fantastic job. So I'm really happy to hear about you branching out to Saugerties. So I encourage people, if they want to get in touch with Jeremy, 32 Partition Street, it's Jeremy at ellenbogen.com, and Ellenbogen is ELLENBOGEN, and he hasn't changed that email address in a while, which I think is a good idea.
That's a good idea, right? Or Dara at ellenbogen.com. She's really the brains of the operation anyway, so.
I don't know about that, but you're smart to give Dara a lot of credit. But what else? What else you got on the horizon now that you have this project done?
Well, I guess I've gotten the concept of putting these beautiful buildings back into service. I think we are looking and identifying other properties in Ulster County and also in Greene County and far beyond. So I just love church buildings for some reason. They are built so well. They're just built in a way that's so solid. And I think transforming a church building and bringing people back together. It's almost like we have our own little church, right? It's our own little congregation in some way. And so I think, that's part of what we're going to be doing. Of course, I'm still maintaining my work in the digital media world, but, it's just another outlet for creativity, the way I see it.
Well, Jeremy, it's fantastic seeing you. We've come to a quick half hour. We're going to have you back again.
Jeez, you said it was a half hour. I thought you said it was a half a day.
Yeah, we'll have you back.
Gosh,
and have a great weekend. My best to Darren, your folks, and
absolutely, Rick. Thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity. This has been great to see you.
Yeah.
So don't let another radio show go by before we.
Absolutely, I'm coming up to
polish up my clubs. Throw down the hammer.
All right. Okay, Lawrence, great show. Have a great weekend. I'll see you in a couple of weeks.
To you, and we'll be back on Monday with Medical Monday.